morning everybody, and welcome back to Shedmouth Junction. I trust you're all keeping well. As you can probably tell from my voice and the state of my eyeballs, I'm not overly the peak fitness and physical health at the moment. I haven't been for a few days and I'm feeling pretty groggy, to be fair, so apologies if I'm not sounding brilliant. My young Evie is at school today. I've got a day off, and my long-suffering, bless her, a good lady, is at work. So I kind of thought I could sit indoors and full of self-pity, or I come out to the shed and talk to you guys. So here I am. And we haven't put anything out for a little while, so I thought I'd come out and say hello and explain what's been going on in the shed with our railway. I know we haven't posted for ages, and a few comments have come in saying what's going on, so I thought I'd come out here and say hello. And while I do that, rather than you sit watching a really poorly looking chap talk at you, I kind of thought I'd combine it with a restoration I've started back in February, I think it was, a long time ago now, of a Triang EMU unit, which I picked up. I'll explain more in a second. And I've basically taken it apart, and I started work on the motor. The bodywork's coming later, so I thought I'd do it in two parts. And the first part I'd filmed ages ago with the intention of making it one long video, but I thought, I can voice over that with my ramblings today. So I thought I'm going to show you guys how far I've got. My first attempt at like a take apart a non-working loco and rebuild it. So bear with me if I make mistakes. But yeah, hopefully it'll work. While I start getting this video ready to go, we've had a number of comments, not just on YouTube, but people I meet in the street who amazingly follow us for some reason have commented, haven't seen an update for a while, how's things going, have you done things to the layout, etc. And the short answer is yes, we have done bits to the layout. We have got videos half produced which haven't been finished yet, and it will take a little bit of time to kind of come through on the interwebs. And the reason it takes such a long time is, like anybody else, this is very much a hobby that we come along and do when we can. It comes very much second to my family life. I've got huge commitments with our parents, shall we say, who are needing a bit more attention these days, bless them. Also, Evie, bless her heart, she's been studying for her SATs exams at school. So she goes up to the high school next year, and so it's quite important for her end of her primary school years. And so we've been focusing on getting her sorted out with her exams. So it's been really a time where we haven't been out here doing much. But what we have done, we have filmed and made some videos of various additions to the layout. I'm not going to tell you about them right now because that'd be giving the game away. But we've certainly got things going on. Now, one question we got asked the other day, fun enough, was, it come up on our Facebook page a little bit. We did the Easter special, Evie's little Easter special bunny, which she did, and someone commented saying, really enjoyed the video. It must take a long time to produce that sort of thing, and it really does. And I think that as when we started this project off, building this railway in this shed, we never once imagined, or I never imagined certainly, we'll be making so much stuff for Evie to do these novelty builds. I'd kind of thought I'd put a railway up, build another one down here, and you'd have lots of videos of me producing things. A nice scenic railway. And as it's happened, Evie's got involved, which I absolutely love. And she's got plans to make bunnies and dogs and cats and stuff. And it's just all lots and lots of fun. And so I'm never going to turn her down for that. And so really our attention got diverted to that a little bit over the winter. And now we're back onto hopefully working on the layout a bit more. We have done some work, and that, like I say, that's all coming up in videos. So we went onto Facebook and managed to get Evie her first ever train set, which you probably saw on our social media. And so she's going to do an unboxing of that, and she's going to describe to you guys the plans to bring the Wizarding World into the shed. And she's very excited, and that's absolutely brilliant. She's also got a new project coming up, which is good. It's a brilliant one. Another one of her novelty builds. We've just started that. And that is for another reason, which I can't delve into at the moment as to why we're doing it. We have got potentially a very exciting I don't know how to describe it. I can't say too much because it might not happen. If it doesn't happen, I don't want to, say anything. But potentially we may have something happening that for us is something we'd never imagined in a million years could ever possibly happen. But things have been set in motion. Whether they actually come off or not, we don't know. We're just going to hang in there and wait and see what happens. But yeah, potentially lots of things coming up, EV stuff. And I'm going to press this button so you can actually watch this video. Hang on. And other things that are going on as well. Let's press this button. Here we go. It's a voiceover. And there you go. Look, by the power of modern technology, we are now flying. So this project really started out with a friend of mine, Steve, who got in contact and said, look, I've got all this stuff from when I was a kid, all this train stuff me and my dad used to have. And would you like it? And we come up, struck a deal really where I swapped all his railway stuff for one of my RC cars, which I no longer raced with. And in this huge box of parts were various bits and pieces of controller, some track, various kit-built wagons, some new Triang wagons in boxes that looked like they'd hardly been used, and one locomotive, which is this one here, which is the Triang Hornby EMU. Doesn't actually work at the moment, or didn't work at the time of recording this, and I kind of thought that'd be quite nice. It's something that Steve used years ago as a kid, so quite nice to get it going again. Now I could have done a couple of things. It's obviously had some use, a few war wounds, shall we say, and a bit battered, but all on the whole, really good condition. And I kind of thought to myself, now do I just restore it back to a working condition, or do I try and bring out the modeler in myself and actually try and bring this a bit more up to date and add some detail and try and make it look like a whole new level of model. And rightly or wrongly, I've chosen the latter. So I kind of thought first thing to do is get it all apart, focus on the chassis and the running of it, and then we can concentrate on the bodywork, repair the damage, the bits that are broken, give it a nice fresh accurate coat of paint and some new decals, and see if I can add some details to make it look a bit more realistic. Inside's a light, which I presume works off the motor. At this point, I've never taken one of these apart before, so I'm literally doing it as I see it. I haven't researched it at all, I just found it in the box and thought, right, we'll do that today, and let's crack on. And taking the body off, instantly I could see that the wiring needed replacing. It's very old and brittle. All the joints of solder are all breaking apart. So that's probably one of the main reasons why it didn't want to work. So I thought, right, that's it, crack on with that, get some new wiring in there and just give it a good clean up. And really this whole project has kind of inspired another video that's on its way out to you at some point. Seeing all this stuff that Steve had as a kid really set my nostalgia trip off. I'm a terribly nostalgic old boy, I really am, terrible. And it got me thinking about my first endeavours into model railways when I was a wee nipper. And I've got a video half produced now. It's nearly there, it should be out in the next few weeks, which really harks back to my childhood and things that really inspired me to get into railways and where it all kicked off from. And I'm pretty confident that a fair few of you will probably watch this and it will trigger memories for yourselves about where it all started for you and send you down a good old memory lane path like it did for me. And this whole project really sparked that off, and it kind of brought question into my own mind of why I left the hobby in the first place when I was in my mid-teens, and why I left the hobby, and it took me best part of, blimey, nearly 20, 30 years to come back to it almost. So I'll leave that for the rest of the video for you to watch at some point. Now here's the thing, look, my soldering technique. Look at this. Now I'm well known in the model car racing world as a master solderer. I'm sure Tracy, my good lady, bless her heart, will confirm things here that my technique's superb. I can honestly say that my technique is so good that maybe only a dozen or so tablecloths have fallen victim to a hot soldering iron, and maybe only 50 or 60 finger burns and burns to various other parts of my body, which clearly indicates my superb talent at such a tricky job. In fact, the only reason we got the shed built was to save the house from burning down. So one question you might ask yourself is, why am I changing the wiring so early on in this cleaning job? And that's a good question, and one that is only one reason and one answer for, and that is the fact that I have got the memory of a goldfish. In fact, if it's gone more than 3 seconds, I've totally forgotten it. So I thought at the time of doing this, I thought, I've not seen it before. I'm going to change the wires now so I know that where to put them. Otherwise, I'll take them off, I clean the whole thing up, then forget where the motor wires should be going and the location of it all and where they're all routed to. So I thought I'd do it now while I could. Now, a simple solution to that would have been to take photographs of the motor when it came out of the actual loco itself for reference. But because at the time of making this video, everything, and I mean everything, was done on my telephone. In fact, all the videos you've seen on our channel so far have all been filmed on my phone, edited on my phone, completely. I've had no other equipment whatsoever for a fair amount of time. And it's really hard now to start seeing through my cracked screen what I'm editing. So hence we've now invested in a second-hand laptop and a posh microphone so we can hopefully bring you better quality videos. But yeah, what was I saying about? I've actually completely forgotten. Oh yeah, my nostalgia video. It's actually coming out in the next few weeks, and hopefully you will enjoy that one. So here we go, we're degreasing all the parts, bits and pieces, wheels, got the base plate here. I was amazed actually how much muck and dirt gets into the locomotives. I know this was really, really old. It's been sat in Steve's loft for a long, long time. It's got a very good excuse, but I like to think that the dirt and the grime inside of that is signs that it's had a good run. It's had a good bit of use, rather than sitting on a shelf doing nothing. After all, these locos were designed and made to be played with, and I'd like to think that it's been played with when Steve was a kid and enjoyed fully, and hopefully now given it a new lease of life, I can do the same thing. Quite what I'm going to do with this when it's finished, I'm not quite so sure. I'd love to have it on the railway somewhere, 100% on my little model railway here. Quite whether it'll get to that, I'm not quite so sure, because obviously the flanges on the wheels are quite a lot deeper and won't fit on the modern track. So I'm going to have to do something about that, or somehow incorporate some trying track into my layout somewhere, so I can just have this running around. I think that would be a really, really nice add-on to have that in the layout somewhere I can show Steve that it's actually working. Now, also coming up in the not so distant future is another video which is more like an update of what's happening with the layout. I had originally done this as 2 or 3 videos, starting off with laying some cork under the track and then doing some scenic work, and then doing a repair for the 3rd time on the removable section which runs over the door. And that's basically a lesson learned there. Do it right the first time, and then you haven't got to do it again over and over and over again. And sadly, it's not a lesson that I adhered to, and I'm still suffering for it. And I may have to at some point make that more of a permanent fixture rather than a removable section. I find that with the wood, being what wood does, it swells and contracts, and it really knocks the rails out of line on quite a regular basis. But that's for a video which is on its way out to you very, very soon. Now, one thing myself and Evie have often discussed about having on the channel is an open shed night. Now, what I mean by that is, for example, my friend Jeremy comes around every now and then when he gets a free minute. We have a cup of tea and a chin wag, run some locos of his around the layout, and just have a really nice night. Now, a lot of YouTubers have live sessions, live streams, and it's very, very successful. We are thinking maybe of inviting perhaps local people round to the shed, if an open shed night. People who are into locos, who live local, can come around and just share the layout a little bit. Or if people have got their own YouTube channels, can come around and promote their own YouTube channel and that sort of thing, just whilst discussing trains and chewing the cud and having a cup of tea. I've been helping out a few friends of mine who have got their own YouTube channels now, just starting out, just like us, and I'm trying to give them a little helping hand to try and bump themselves along and give them a few little tips and pointers that I've certainly learnt in the last 8 or 9 months being on here. And sure enough, one of those guys has agreed to come along to the shed one night, or a little collaboration of some description, and I can show you what he does and promote his channel a little bit whilst introducing him to the world of trains. So that's something that may come up as a little regular slot here and there if we can get any takers to come down and visit the shed. So yeah, another one to watch this space on, really. And there you go, one finished, nice shiny motor bogie section. And yeah, good jobbed. Okay, so that's that. Stop that a second. But that's it for today. I hope I've covered a few things about the channel, which is moving forward. My voice is starting to go now. I'm going to call it a day. It's really kicking in. Thank you very much. I can't say thank you enough for everyone who's following us at the moment. I know we're not everyone's cup of tea. I watch our subscriber numbers go up and then they fall back down again. And it's no big deal to me. You know, if you're here, I'm really pleased you are. Thank you very, very much for all of your support. It's been fantastic so far. Apologies if we don't move along as fast as we kind of originally thought, or as much as we would like to produce stuff. As I said before, time is hard to find in the shed. But yeah, thank you for bearing with us. I really appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, no pressure. If you do want to, feel free. So in the meantime, I'm going to love you and leave you. I'm going to shut up now, I promise. And I'll see you next time. Thank you very much again. Thank you. See you later. Bye-bye.